Hello, everyone. Welcome back to TV news reporting. I'm happy I can't see you guys with this coronavirus going on, but you guys can see me. So I'm happy you guys get to see me again. I'm happy everyone is staying safe. We're going to get right into things today. I actually have put together a PowerPoint slides for you all as usual, just to make sure you guys can have something to look at as we go along here. All right. So let me make sure that this is visible for everyone. I'm gonna make sure we start it from the beginning. All right, class. So today we are focusing on creative stand-up. So I know we've done a couple modules in the past where we've discussed, how to put together a package, and we discussed that a package is, a story, putting it together from start to finish. And now we're going to discuss one of those important pieces that goes into your story, or if you want to call it a package. So today we're discussing creative stand-ups. Like I said, I'll give everybody a second, make sure you guys have your notes out so you guys can take a few notes, because this is something that you will definitely have to implement in the future. So I want to make sure you guys have all the details that you need to make sure you get it right. Okie dokie, let's get started. So first off, disclaimer, some of the videos or pictures that you may see may actually be me from my time as a reporter, just to keep you guys interested and give you guys a little bit of, I've done it before, so I'm here to help you guys. So first off, what is a stand-up? Now, a stand-up is, you probably have seen one before. It's when the reporter is in her story, in his or her story. Now, either that can be before the story begins, so introducing the story. It could be during the story, so that's maybe in between the story, like in the middle. And then also it could be at the end of the piece. So a stand-up is important because, it gives you time to explain your story, gives you time to put out new information that may have not been able to be in your story. It can wrap your story up, make it all, put the bow on the story. So it's really important, and they're really normal. So I see stand-ups all the time. I don't never think I've seen, most times, anytime I see a package or what we call a story put together, it always includes some kind of stand-up, whether if it's in the beginning with the reporter introducing it, the middle, or the end. And in my opinion, it kind of gives you the chance to put your name on your story. Like, this is your story. You worked very hard on putting it together, going out and getting these interviews and editing the story. And now they're putting a face to whose story this is, so they can get a better understanding of it. Okie dokie. So we're gonna move forward, but I first want to show you guys an example of a stand-up. So here we go. Let's start this clip from the beginning here. All right.
Our team was on the scene yesterday as investigators tried to piece together some answers, and tonight, WGXA's Jayla Whitfield continues to investigate this. Jayla, what'd you find out?
Aaron, as you can see, the light at 2881 is still on, but the family that used to live here doesn't call this place home anymore. Morgan Smith was found dead right behind this door by her 2 young children.
So that was a stand-up that is in the beginning of a package or story, as we said before. So I just want to go back just for a second. Did you guys notice that in the stand-up, of course, the anchor tosses to you, but also how active, it wasn't super active, but it took a sad story and it had some movement in it. It made you kind of follow along or keep your attention, kept it appealing, even though it was a sad story. It's a story about a homicide. A woman was killed in Macon, Georgia. So I just want you guys to see that part one more time.
Investigate this. Jayla, what'd you find out?
Aaron, as you can see,
so I refer to how the light is still on at 2881. I point to the house number, and then if you turn around, I point to the flowers and the teddy bears that were left from neighbors at her home. So it just makes this, you use your background in your stand-up. Use what you have. So that is an example of a stand-up, and we're going to keep on moving forward.
Our team was...
Okay. So some things to consider moving forward about stand-ups and when you guys create your stand-ups. So some things to consider. How can you advance the story? You want to make sure your stand-up is giving your audience some new information. It's moving the story forward. You don't want to stay stagnant. So make sure that your stand-up is doing something or showing something that your audience hasn't seen yet. Also, the second item would be, how can I make my stand-up appealing to the viewer? So we know in this day and age, people turn the TV on, they turn it right off. So you want to make sure that when they see this stand-up, or when you introduce your story, or if it's in the middle or the end, they're intrigued. They want to watch. They don't turn the TV off. And the way to do that is to make it appealing to the viewer by showing them something they haven't seen, saying something they haven't heard, or using things in your background that you wouldn't have used at first. Also, what will my stand-up show that viewers want to see? So there's always something in your story that your viewers want to see that you probably maybe couldn't put in directly in the package. For instance, if you're doing a story on firefighters or something like that, and you go to the fire station, you shoot your stand-up inside the fire truck, or you ask them, can you turn on the water hose that they use to put the fires out with? Like, just little things like that, things that your audience doesn't get to see on a normal basis because maybe they aren't firefighters. So things like that would be great. And then lastly, but definitely not least, what will I say in my stand-up? So this is also super important, because what you say in your stand-up matters, just like what you say throughout your whole entire story or package matters. So you want to make sure that you're getting this ahead of time, making sure you know ahead of time what you're going to say, so you don't have to look down on a piece of paper, so you can just say it and get to the point. And it'll be easier as time goes on to do this. This is not something that you'll be able to master on day one. It's going to take time, it's going to take practice, but that's what we're here for. So when you're thinking about what your stand-up would say, you want to say something that you're not already saying in your package. So you can reiterate, but you don't want to just repeat the same thing over and over again. That will lose the interest of the viewer. So you want to make sure you're saying something that they maybe haven't heard or, seen. So those are a few things to consider. Oh, we already went to the next one. Yep, perfect. Okay, so types of stand-ups. We've talked a little bit about this throughout the previous slides, but I wanted to break it down a little bit more. So there are 3 types of stand-ups, usually in news broadcasts. So you have one that could be at the beginning of your piece. That is the example that I showed you guys 2 slides ago with me about the woman that had passed away and pointing to the numbers on her house. So that is at the beginning. So it's a scene setter. It sets the scene. It lets the audience know what you're talking about, and it grabs their attention. So when you have a stand-up at the beginning of your piece, you want to make sure it's grabbing the viewer's attention, and it keeps their attention, because once you have their attention, they'll continue watching the rest of that story, and that's what you want them to do. You want them to get the whole thing, not just a piece of it. So those stand-ups at the beginning are scene setters, and they set the scene of your story. Now, there's also a stand-up that you can put in the middle of your piece. Now, those stories that are in the middle are usually called the bridge, because it's a transition. It's closing the gap between 2 different ideas in your story. So for instance, if I'm talking about the woman that passed away, and then I put a stand-up in the middle, and then I'm talking about how her killer is being arrested. Those are 2 different ideas. That's one idea is about her. The other is about the person that was going to be arrested for her murder. So you could put something in the middle to tie those 2 ideas together. Also, you could use a stand-up at the end of your piece. Sometimes people do more than one. Sometimes people have beginning and the end. But let's just talk about the stand-ups at the end of your piece. If you're thinking about doing a stand-up at the end of your piece, it's usually to wrap up your story. So you want to wrap it up, conclude it, but you want to leave the viewers with something. So for instance, with the story that you guys saw, maybe I could leave the viewers with a phone number to the police station or a tip line where they could give information to help solve this case if the case isn't solved already. Or you could end it with the next time an organization will be having an event. So if you're doing a story about an organization, maybe the Red Cross, and then they're going to be having an upcoming event soon, you could end it with a piece of information that they didn't get in your story, but something that they could use, something that is useful. So upcoming things. What's this gonna be looking like moving forward? How is this going to change? What did I want you to take away from this? Those are some of the questions you can ask yourself when you're thinking about a stand-up at the end of your piece. Okie dokie, so we're gonna keep on moving forward. So the fun part, shooting your stand-up. Now, I know this may not be, I'm sure you guys will think this part is fun. So first off, the biggest key with this is to plan ahead. You can notice when a person's stand-up wasn't planned out. So make sure you plan ahead. So when I say plan ahead, I mean, once you know what your story is going to be about for the day, once you know what story you're working on, go ahead and think out, how do I want to show this? What do I want to say to the viewers about this? You can plan ahead. You can say, what do I want my background to be in my stand-up? So you can already have it planned out. Do I want to use any props in my stand-up? Do I want to point to anything? Do I want to show anything? Those are all things you can do and plan ahead. And just like anything else in life, when you plan ahead, it turns out better. So also use the best mic for your story. So I won't know exactly if your story is best for using a lav mic, which is a wireless mic, or a stick mic, which is the mic that you see reporters holding in their hands. So for instance, if you're doing a story where there's a lot of movement, where you're moving around from this place to this place, showing things, you have a lot of action in your stand-up, the wireless mic may be best for you, that lav wireless mic. So you can be able to move easier without having to hold on to something. But you may be in a situation where your stand-up is straight on, you're in a spot, but you're using other things to make it creative, whether that be technology or just standing out of the way or pointing at something. So you're doing way less action. And sometimes for those things, you can use a stick mic. But, it's always going to be up with you. I will also say, use a stick mic if you're at a scene where there's a lot of noise behind you. That stick mic will kind of help not pick up as much as that noise and just pick up you. So those are a couple of things to consider. But you also, one of the most important things is to sound natural. People when you're on TV, they just want to hear you, like you talk every single day. They don't want to hear the big words that you put in your papers for other classes. They just want to hear simple, straight to the point. So what is it that you're trying to tell them? Get it out quick, simple, straight to the point. That's all they want you to do. They want you to sound natural, like you're having a conversation with them through the TV screen. Also, dress according to your story. I put this picture up here because, as you can see, I was at this train derailed. So it's all messed up. The train is all messed up. And I'm obviously not, that aerial view is just to the side of me, but I'm where they're trying to fix the situation and put things back together. So when you're looking at this, I'm not going to be out there in a dress and heels. It's a lot of gravel. It's a lot of rocks. It's just not the best area for that kind of outfit. But what I did have on was a dress, tennis shoes, and I made sure I had on the visor because I'm outside in the dark. So I want people to know that I'm there until nothing happens to me. So I would make sure that you dress according to your story. You're going to know what story you're doing before, when the day starts. So think about that and make sure you're dressing appropriate for it. If you need extra tennis shoes, make sure you have them in your car. If you need a rain jacket because you may be covering, doing a stand-up when it's a hurricane or flooding going on, make sure you have a rain jacket and rain boots. But you want to make sure that you dress according to the story so you can do what you need to do to get the point across. Also, when you're shooting your stand-ups, some stand-ups you see people have photographers. So those are people that are behind the camera that shoot and record that person for them. Okay, so some people have photographers, but many don't. Many reporters are MMJs, which is a multimedia journalist. So they shoot, record, write, do everything on their own. So if you have a photographer, I would say take advantage of it. When you guys go out and practice doing this, you guys will have a photographer. You guys are going to be in groups of 2. And so one person will be the photographer and one person will be the reporter. And then y'all will swap off. So you guys will have photographers to make it a little bit easier. But in some situations, when you get out into the real world and you start your careers, you won't have those photographers off the top. So you have to really make sure you're planning ahead to do the active stand-ups you want to do. So let's keep moving forward here. Okay. So this slide is all about creative stand-ups. So that's the topic for our class discussion today, creative stand-ups. So that's the key to this. I don't want you guys to just go out and create a stand-up. Anyone can do that. Anyone can just stand in front of the camera and just talk. But that's not what everyone wants to see. They want to see something. So some things to help you guys keep this in mind to make it more creative is showing. Show something the viewer may hasn't seen yet. If you're doing a court case, pull out those documents and put them in front of their face. If you're doing, a story about flooding or something, walk through the flooding so people can see how deep that water is. I want to show you. You want to show the viewer, you want to grab their attention and show them so they can see it. This is all visual. You got to take advantage of these visuals. It's really important. Also, you want to demonstrate how something works. So if you're doing a story about how a car was broken into, maybe demonstrate that the keys were left inside of the car and this is what leads to this, or anything to just demonstrate to the viewer that this is what happened and this is how it happened. Break it down for the viewer. And also, whatever is coming out of your mouth should relate to the movement of your hands, your feet, your eyes. It should all match. Your 5 senses basically is what that's saying. So whatever you're saying should relate to what they see on TV. So for instance, when you saw that first example, when I talked about the woman's home and how she was killed at her home, I pointed to the home number. So I'm talking about the home. This is the home number. So you just want to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to match it together, what you hear with what you see. So when we talk about creative stand-ups, I wanted to pull up a video of creative stand-ups. So these stand-ups are great. They're great stand-ups, but I don't expect you guys to be at this level just yet. You just have to start small and then you will eventually get there. So let me open up this.
So just how much space are we talking about here? There's only 90 inches from the edge of the hill to the edge of the porch, which means there's...
Okay, so in that one, did you see how he used a prop? He got his tape measure out to show people how far the distance is. Literally, he got it out, pulled it out, show them how far this distance is. And it grabs your attention. Let's go back because I kind of talked while it was going. Here we go.
So just how much space are we talking about here? There's only 90 inches from the edge of the hill to the edge of the porch, which means there's only 7.5 feet until the edge of the porch starts falling in. Right now where I'm standing, the water should be up over the top of this stick, but because the dam isn't working properly, that's just not the case.
Now, obviously, he had a photographer for that. But if you didn't have a photographer, you still could have did that without the zoom out. You still could have put the stick in the air and showed viewers what the water level should have been. You really your stand-up should put things in perspective for your viewers. That was awesome because it really showed, wow, that water's supposed to be that high and it's down that low. That's what you want to do. Let's keep going.
Access Facebook nearly anywhere. Isn't working properly, that's just not the case. Because you can access Facebook nearly anywhere, and there are literally thousands of Winona State students on the social networking site looking at pictures. Police hope they'll be able to catch the suspects even faster. An entire night of heavy rainfall has changed things a lot here in Pine Island. This is now the reality of what people in this city are dealing with. It's hard to believe.
Now that stand up in the water is what I mean about dressing according to what story you're covering. So if you're covering something like that, you need to have your rain boots and all that good stuff so you can be able to show the viewer what you're seeing. We'll watch a few more here.
city are dealing with. It's hard to believe, but pedestrian deaths make up about 12% of all traffic accidents in this country every single year. That means close to 4,000 people are killed just by trying to cross the street. And get this, another 59,000 people are injured when they try to get from one side to the other.
Yep, that's right.
Even with all the progress, Charlie has...
So, as you can see, this guy's very creative. He has made it his thing to be creative, and it helps. It helps get his stories out there, and it helps tell the viewer his story way better. Okie dokie. So those were a few examples of creative stand-ups. Let's keep
So just how much...
So what I want to emphasize to you guys here is that when I was in school, one of the things that one of my teachers told me is that anyone can just stand there. And not only did one of my teachers tell me that, but at my first job as a reporter, they told me that anyone can just stand in front of the camera. What makes you different? What makes you and your story stand out? Okay? You have to use your creativity and put it to use. So that's something I want you guys to remember. When you're creating stand-ups, think anyone can just stand here. I could do something to make this better. I could use a prop. I could show something. I could demonstrate something. I could talk about something that no one has said in the story yet. But just remember that anyone can just stand there. Okay, this woman, Tiffany Liu, also does very great creative stand-ups. And so she knows that anyone can just stand there, and she's not going to do that because she wants to stand out. So I want to show you guys a few of hers as well.
You can see clearly in this surveillance video, the man walks down the hallway and breaks into an office with a crowbar. And his parents sent us.
So you saw she used the iPad. That was so simple. She just used a piece of technology. So you can use your phones. You can use your phones to show something and then broaden it out. You just got to think of different ways to do things, but it's not as hard as it may seem.
These photos, you could see a gash on his head and also a black eye.
So those photos, when we talked about earlier, we talked about if you're doing a story about a legal story, you're doing a court case, show the documents. Yeah, they may not be able to read the words on those documents you're showing, but you pulling up the documents like this just grabs their attention. These court documents, and then continue.
Kinds of swings you normally see at a park. The problem is not everyone can use them. But check this out. You can see clearly in this surveillance video.
Sorry.
Normally see at a park. The problem is not everyone can use them. But check this out. It's a handicap swing, and now people in wheelchairs also have an option. For the first time, the city of Yukon will be switching ambulance services, which means 2 of these trucks will be dedicated only to the residents of Yukon. The victim.
You see, you want to use what you have. Show the viewers what they usually won't be able to see. I usually wouldn't be able to see the inside of that truck, but she showed me, and now I'm interested. We'll watch a few more.
She pulled into work and got in the same spot that she parks in every morning. But yesterday, just 20 minutes later, her car was gone. After fighting multiple fires this week, the Guthrie Fire Department says this morning they were down to only 2 cases of water. And today, they're asking the community for some crucial donations. The house is still roped off, and the memorial continues to grow outside of this home where a mother and son were killed. But the family says they are not giving up, now offering a $20,000 reward that will lead to the arrest and conviction of whoever is responsible. Under the
You see, I really like that one because she used that crime scene tape to grab your attention and to keep the viewer interested. So those are a few more examples of ways to be creative when you're doing this. It's not going to be the easiest thing, but it's definitely something you guys need to start thinking about because you don't just want to stand there. All right, let's move forward. So class, now it is your turn. So your assignment for this week, and this will be due the following Friday. So November 20th at midnight, like our usual assignments are due. I want you guys to get in partners. So it's going to be 2 of you guys each. And in these partners, you guys will create a stand-up. Now, it's up to you if you want to create a stand-up that's at the beginning, middle, or end, but you do need to specify what stand-up this is because you're not going to put together a whole package or story. You're just going to show me the stand-up. So I need to know if it's beginning, middle, or end stand-up. Also, I need to know a description of your story at the top, at the beginning. So what is your story about? Are you doing a story about someone that was killed? Are you doing a story about a robbery? Are you doing a story about new technology? Just tell me what your story is about in a couple of sentences before I see the stand-up. And then I'll be able to decide if the stand-up was creative or not. So make sure you guys can choose who your partner is to get this done. You can use your smartphones to record. And since there are two of you in this partner, one person should be recording the other, and then you guys should swap off. So this is due next Friday. You have a lot of time to think and be creative. This is the whole goal of this. You will be graded on how creative your stand-up is. So make sure you guys do that. And I look forward to seeing it. This PowerPoint will be on Blackboard as well to go back and reference or get any details that you guys may need while you guys are working on this. So I look forward to seeing y'all's stand-ups very soon. I cannot wait. I'm gonna see if I can exit out of this for you guys. Okay. No, it's not letting me do it. Okay, well, I'm trying. Oh, I just clicked stop sharing. There we go. Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you guys are working on those creative stand-ups. If you guys have any questions or concerns, just email me. I'll be here to answer any questions that you guys may have. All right, I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much.